CDC is advising Americans to prepare for the possibility of a coronavirus outbreak. That means stocking up on essential supplies like food and medicine.
Meanwhile...
Hello, boys. Find everything you need?
Yep, all set.
Okay, let's see here. Toilet paper? Toilet paper? Toilet paper? Toilet paper? Toilet paper? Hey. Now, you kids be careful with this chewing gum. Don't go sticking it under tables.
Okay.
You know, son, I remember you coming in last week and buying this much toilet paper.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Toilet paper? Toilet paper?
You TP'd a house last week, Cartman? No, that's Thursday night was fajitas night. Oh.
Superstores like this one are selling out of these products online and in the stores because of the fears surrounding the coronavirus.
You get on the radio and panic the city? Now, wait a minute.
Herewith recorded is the story of a silent, savage menace. How for 3 days a great American city found itself outside the United States of America. The events, incidents, and emotions of the people who were a part of it, who found time running out as they looked into the face of mortal peril.
This is no time to panic. This is the perfect time to panic.
Video has emerged of an alarming scene in a Sydney supermarket of two women coming to blows in an argument over the right to buy multiple packets of toilet tissue.
I just want one packet.
No, not one packet.
Wait a minute. Wait for what? Somebody else to die?
We find ourselves in an unprecedented public health crisis, a rapidly evolving global pandemic. Most of us have never experienced anything like this.
You two men, listen to me. I've got something to tell you.
What's up, guys? Doc Brown here. Last video for the COVID, and then I'll do kind of an update in a few days here. So this video we're going to talk about the media. Quick shout out though to Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis. Montage again was from Aftermath.media. So media, as we know, can get kind of scary. I'm going to hit a couple basic points. The toilet paper scare that everybody's hoarding toilet paper right now for all started on social media from a meme. So don't fall into the camp of, oh my god, COVID means we're going to poop ourselves. It's a respiratory. It has nothing to do with your bowels. Breaking news, it seems like every segment that they come back, it's breaking news this, breaking news that. And then we'll touch on weaponization of media. So this is from the Drudge Report about a week and a half ago or so. Just to show you, like, people that don't actually read the news, they just read headlines, can get kind of freaked out by it. Chris Cuomo warns that we haven't flattened the curve. Then we have city dwellers fleeing to deserts, mountains. Sorry. Rats go home. Furious locals in rural towns fight back. Italy may have heavier fines for lockdown violations. What happens when all the doctors are infected? And down here in the middle, virus lingers on surface for 17 days. That one is actually about the Diamond Princess cruise ship. Then we have quarantine senators may show up in hazmat-like suits. Protective gear for bailout vote. Bezos and other corporate executives sold shares just in time. So just before the crash, kind of like those senators that I was talking about in the last video. Doctors and nurses are apparently truly scared to come to work. So as you can see, some of these topics can be rather intimidating or possibly scary if you don't actually read what's going on. So I encourage you to actually read, not just read the titles. Drudge Report, for those that don't know, is a pretty fair cross-cut of both mainstream and non-mainstream news. So using pictures on this one, mainly because these are some pretty big topics. Up here in the top left, the Sandman case. Sandman? Yeah, Sandman. He was a high school senior that him and the rest of his class went to D.C. to do the March for Life. And this gentleman here with the drum came up and got into his face. The media said that Nick over here in the MAGA hat was intimidating this older gentleman, and the media ran away with it. Well, you look back at the actual footage of that day, him and the rest of the students were just standing there smiling. And then there's a group called the Black Israelites that were also jumping on their cases, calling them all kinds of nasty names. They're not very nice people down there. And yet the media took this gentleman's side with the drum. Down here in the lower left, this is a staged protest in London that happened, I want to say 2 years ago, something like that. Basically, they were saying that there was more Muslim attacks than what should be. Really, Radar? Sorry. Yeah, basically they faked this whole protest down here, and as you can see, there's not that many people over to the left side of the picture, and then it's just all focused on this small group of people right here. Up in the upper right hand corner, this is one that I found on Facebag the other day. The reporter, as you can see, is in full, that's not mop gear, but be like the equivalent of what they could get as a reporter. But then the cameraman is just in normal clothes, just a heavy jacket. Doesn't look like he has a mask on, but we can't really see from this angle. So again, what I'm getting at here is that the media tries to frame things a certain way. This picture here in the middle with the red circle, as you can see, when you're looking at the top portion of it where the circle is, there's a dude chasing another dude with a knife that looks like he's going to kill him. And then you look down at the telescreen, and it looks like the guy that's running away is actually the one trying to stab the dude that's trying to do the stabbing. And this is what the media does all the time to fit their narrative. You can kind of see it down here in the lower right corner, where you have a half a face of a dude looks like he's in a suit, and the other half looks like he's in a bandana and sunglasses and a ball cap. One side is fake news, one side is breaking news. You can see this with Patriot Prayer and Antifa downtown Portland, as well as other places around the country. But one side of the news will vilify one group and praise the other, and vice versa. So you really need to pay attention to what's going on and what they're trying to make you look at. It's kind of like a magician. Look at this hand over here while my opposite hand is actually doing the cool stuff. This is a survey that was taken between March 13th and 14th. There were 835 United States adults. This came out of NPR, PBS, NewsHour, and the Marist. Overall, people are not really, buying all of it. The percentage of people who trust the information coming out of the media on the overall side is about 35%, whereas not at all is down here at the 15. As you can see, on the Republican side, it's kind of more or less even, and then the Democrats, almost half of them believe the media about the coronavirus. This is purely speculation, but my guess would be that the Republicans don't trust the media as much because of everything that we were told in the 2016 election. Oh, there's no way that President Trump or then candidate Trump can win. Hillary's going to smash it. He's way behind in the polls, all this kind of stuff. And then it was the exact opposite of what they were saying. So there's a lot of distrust in the media. This is the first recovery bill that was passed back in early March, late February, somewhere in there. The House passed an $8.4 billion coronavirus emergency spending bill. These are the dollar amounts on the left, and then the programs on the right. Diplomatic programs, global health programs, international disaster assistance, economic support fund, and worldwide security protection. I don't really see how any of those pertain to Americans. To me, this all looks more of a global aspect. Journalist Rachel Bovard, she got an early copy of the now passed spending bill, the $2 trillion bill that just got passed a few days ago. Originally, she got an early copy of it. It was going to be 1,119 pages long. Then later, after Nancy Pelosi and some of the Democrats jumped in there, it jumped up to 1,400 pages. And I think when it finally got passed, it was down to like 880 or something like that. But some of the things that it included originally was grants for conducting risk-limiting audits of election results, elimination of the USPS's debt, pay equality. So more specifically, this is talking about men versus women, educated versus uneducated, that kind of thing. The corporate board diversity, that was talking about the making it so all genders and ethnicities and all that kind of stuff were represented on corporate boards, when it really should just be who's the best for the job, not, oh, well, we're just giving this away because we have to comply. Early voting was going to be a thing. Same-day voter registration. Those of you that have been paying attention to all this stuff, I'm sure you've heard about the cons with voter registration. For those of you who haven't, if you register the same day that you vote, they can't actually prove or disprove or validate that you are who you say you are. Just because you have a license doesn't mean that it can't be faked. There's going to be a federal employee collective bargaining and official time. So that was for unions specifically. They wanted to shove in there carbon emission offset and goals for airplanes, which that has nothing to do with a virus, along with most of the stuff that was in the bill. Improving consumer information regarding release of greenhouse gases on flights. Again, nothing to do with a virus. Modification of special rules for minimum funding standards for community newspaper plans. Again, how does this have anything to do with a virus? Brzezinski, he was a former national security advisor, I believe, under Obama. He said in early times, it was easy to control 1 million people. Literally, it was easier to control 1 million people than physically kill 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than control 1 million people. It is easier to kill than control. I halfway disagree with this gentleman. Killing 1 million people, yes, we have all kinds of cool tech and whatnot. So yeah, that could be done pretty nefariously. If indeed this COVID-19 was genetically altered in some way to become extremely infectious as well as extremely lethal, that'd be an easy way to kill 1 million people. But with our faces glued onto Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, it's pretty easy to let algorithms dictate what people see. Google, for example, has algorithms that were set up in 2016 to steer you from one candidate to another one which they supported. Now, they said that they were going to fix that, but I'll guarantee you they won't. Again, this is about a week and a half old, but hitting closer to home. On 3/24 of 20, the Oregon had 161 cases confirmed with 4 dead. Some of the news from Oregon. These next few slides are specifically headlines that I got off of Oregon Live. What's the penalty for breaking Oregon's new stay-at-home law? Jail, $1,250 fine, or both. It turns out that Kate Brown put into place that it's going to be a Class C misdemeanor punishable by 30 days in jail, a fine up to $1,250, or both. Police and sheriffs across the state have said that they're not gonna enforce this right away. That they're gonna try and inform people, hey, this is what's going on, and then after a little while, then they're gonna start cracking down on this and actually fining or throwing people in jail. Coronavirus model sees Oregon hospitals overwhelmed by mid-April. No point of return for intervention to work. March 24 through 29. So we're past the point of no return. OHSU reached a somewhat similar conclusion to COVID Act Now's, showing a shortage of hospital beds in Oregon of 1,400 by April 16th. So that's about a week and a half away that we're going to have shortages. Kate Brown said that there's a storm coming. As she pled for Oregonians to stay at home so that way they don't spread COVID-19. Intel is Oregon's largest corporate employer. They employ 20,000 people over in Washington County. The company operations have been fairly normal since the outbreak started. Their stocks are a little bit down, but they're donating 1 million pieces of PPE to healthcare workers to fight the coronavirus. This one to me is pretty interesting because kids aren't in school. And how is that going to change and affect how school is done? Everybody knocks homeschooling, but that's exactly what they're doing right now. Some of Portland Public Schools, which serve more than 30,000 to-go meals, so that's pretty cool that they're still being able to get meals out to those kids, especially the ones that are they can't afford to eat at home and they get free or reduced lunch. The Oregon Department of Education has said that it does not have the infrastructure in place to do a traditional in-person instruction. So this is the instruction that we all grew up with, 30 plus people in a classroom listening to one teacher. Well, right now they can't do that. But there are private schools, charter schools, and some smaller districts in the metro area, including Corbett and Estacada, they should have started a couple days ago on April 1st doing it online. AP and SAT will also be canceling in-person exams. One thing that's going to be interesting as far as college, university, or whatever you want to call it, is that the campuses have kicked people off, or the schools have kicked people off campus in order to prevent the spread of COVID-19. But the people that lived in the dorms are still paying for the dorms, even though they can't live in the dorms. They have all their in-person classes, well, probably not all of them, but more than a few, are now online. So the in-person classes, nobody's there. It's all online. Cool, that's easy. You can sit around in your underwear drinking beer while you're in class. Personally, I think that's a good deal. But they're still paying the in-person tuition. So what is that going to do to some of these smaller colleges, not like your Harvards or your Yales or something like that, but like your Oregon, your Linfield, that kind of thing, where it's super expensive to go there, but they're going to make you pay the same price no matter where you are. You know, potentially that could lead, because of coronavirus, lead to a massive breakdown in people going to school traditionally, where it's in person, and they may not want to pay for even online classes if it's going to be this ridiculous amount. Which in turn, yes, it would close a bunch of schools and universities, but it's going to lower the prices as well. So as negative as it is affecting people with children, like younger children, K through 12, long run, potentially it could be turned into a positive. Forest Grove is doing some pretty cool stuff. Their officers are going to be delivering medications to people 65 years and older with pre-existing conditions or life-threatening health conditions. The officers are not going to be going to nursing homes, that kind of thing, because it's harder to maintain the social distancing, but they will go to the personal and private residences. So there's a happy thing coming out of this. Personally, this one for me is kind of the big hit. I don't really watch sports, but I love watching the Olympics. It's about the only thing that I watch as far as sports goes. It's supposed to be in Tokyo this year, but they put it off to at least a year, last I saw. On the basis of the information, the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee, has postponement has been decided. The parameters going forward have not been determined, but the games are not going to start on July 24th. That much I know. And that was Christy Brennan. There's another interesting one. It's starting to pop up in a couple different places. I don't know if the mainstream media is reporting it at all, but basically what's going on is China is putting little tracking bracelets on people, so that way they know if they're quarantined and they need to stay in house arrest for 14 days, and if they leave the area, they can call the cops and they call the Department of Health. The bracelet or the ankle bracelet is Bluetooth to the person's phone, and if you go 20 meters away from your phone, or you and your phone go 20 meters away from home, you get tagged and the cops are called. There's a few countries that are looking at doing this as well. It kind of ties into the social credit score that I talked about in a previous video. I want to leave you with one last thing. We've had a massive, the earth is going to die every year since 2000. We have survived the end of the world several times. Whether that's Jesus coming back, global warming, or any of these on the list. Y2K, anthrax, West Nile, SARS, bird flu, E. coli, the bad economy, swine flu, the BP oil spill, Obamacare, the Mayan end of the world, North Korea, Ebola, Disneyland measles and ISIS, the Zika virus, fake news, migrant caravans, measles, and now the coronavirus, aka COVID-19. I want you guys to think about how many things that we have survived in just the last 20 years. It's been a lot. Every year there's something new that comes out that's going to kill us all. And one thing that some people have pointed out, which is kind of interesting, is that every couple years, voting years specifically, some big outbreak comes out. So we have coronavirus, Zika, in 2008, it was a bad economy, 2000, Y2K, and then anthrax, 9/11, that kind of thing. So I hope you guys learned a little bit more in this video. I will probably do a follow-up on what's going on in the next couple days. So yeah, have a great day.